Welcome into 11Personnel presented by Monticello Bank with 21 locations across the Commonwealth. There's a Monticello Bank near you. If you can't visit them in person, check them out online at nbcbank.com. Monticello Bank, it's where people matter. Since 1895, home loan, personal loan, business loan, whatever it may be, they'll get the numbers on your side to get the best rate possible at Monticello Bank, where people matter. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, and proud presenting sponsors of 11Personnel. I'm Nick Roush. He's Adam Luckett. And today we've got Stephen Peake on the screen too, because we're doing something a little different. Okay. This is, we got, 5 days a week to talk stuff. In my brain, Luckett, I was doing a fantasy football draft the other day, and I was like, man, wouldn't it be kind of fun to do this with Kentucky football? So let's do one, right? Why the heck not? I mean, we can't determine it but let's have some fun with it. I mean, this could be a disaster. It could be a lot of fun. Either way, we got to shoot our shots and give it a try. Luckett, do you think this will work out effectively?
I have no idea. To be honest, I'm not really even sure what I'm walking into here. So,
oh, great. That's even better.
Which is the best way to enter a fantasy football draft.
That's how I enter most of mine, other than like players I want to ignore. Peake, are you a fantasy football person?
No, I kind of gave it up a long time ago. I mean, I did it for like 15 years, never won anything. So I was like, who am I doing this for? Who am I giving my money to every year? It's not really worth it. So I like to do a pick'em league. I like those.
I won our inaugural frat house fantasy football league, and then I went about 10 years in between winning one, and then I got together.
Waves. Yeah,
I got together with my high school buddies, won our first league, and then I lost our second. So, and when I say I lost, I came in dead last. So, maybe I got something good up my sleeve for this one. Where the premise is pretty simple, right? You all done fantasy football drafts. You get a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a flex, tight end, defense player, and a kicker. We're not doing it for this year's team. This is like a fun way to just prioritize players who have played throughout our lives. So we're going to go back to 91?
No, wait. Okay, 90. We're going only in our lifetime.
Yes. So players in our lifetime will fit this criteria. We're not going back to Art Still. Sorry. Okay. He's not counting that. Mark Higgs, I apologize. You were great. But
what about like my lifetime, but not this, like those 91 to 92 or 90?
You're really going to pick somebody in 92 like it? Like
yes.
He got him. Yeah.
I have a ringer.
Okay. Well, use your ringer. I was alive in 91, so that counts. Just 90s on.
This is Freddie Maggart time, so I hope he's not listening to you just totally put down his football teams.
My overall point is that these are all players that we know. Okay, these are players we know, but here's the other part too. This is all going to just come from the noggin. We aren't like Googling. We don't have the cheat sheet. That's the thing with modern fantasy football. You get a cheat sheet. You know who has been drafted, who is not. If Luckett picked somebody that I already picked, like you lost your turn, brother. Sorry, you're going back down to the pecking order. So it could create some chaos. We're probably going to miss some obvious choices. But either way, it should be a fun way for us to enjoy a little bit of nostalgia and see where different folks prioritize positions because, you could maybe get some – I mean, Mark Stoops gave us a ton of quality running backs. You might not want to take a running back early on in the process. So either way, this is a fun little stroll down memory lane on your Friday afternoon. Are we ready to get this ball rolling?
Are we doing the what's the snake draft? Is it like up and back, or is it how are we doing it?
Oh gosh, that's a good way to get us lost, right?
We should have had trivia. We should have had trivia questions locked and loaded for each pick, each round.
I mean, we've got trivia for them too, but we're trying to figure this out as we go. All right.
I would just say snake. Nick can maybe start us off since this was his idea. Pete can go second, and then I'll go third. How's that sound for everybody?
That works.
That works for me. I think this is a pretty safe 1-1 because not only from the production factor, but just touchdowns, right? Like touchdowns are worth a lot of points. and I think Benny Snell had about 10 4-touchdown games. So right off the top, 1-1, RB1 is Benny Snell, first off the board. Peake, who you
All
like
right.
as number 2 overall? Because it feels like the draft does start at number 2.
I thought you were going to take number 1, the guy who went number 1. I'll do it. I'll take Tim Couch as my first pick.
Interesting. Usually like quarterbacks can fall pretty far in these drafts because you can get such good value out of them.
That is correct, which is why I'm not sure if we're PPR, half PPR, standard, but regardless, running back catches matter. They add up. Running back receiving yards matter. All of those add up. So, like, you look at some of the air raid guys are very, very interesting because of that.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
But I'm going to stick with Raphael Little because I think he gives you the rushing, and I think he gives you the receiving. He can catch touchdown passes, run for touchdowns. So give me Raphael Little.
I'm just floored. I'm flabbergasted. I thought Raphael Little was going to be a great steal later in the draft because, in my opinion, he is maybe the most underrated Kentucky football player in the 21st century. Some of that is because that 2007 team just had a lot of star power. And during that season, he dealt with some injuries that held him out. But I believe if he didn't lead the SEC in rushing, he was an all-conference pick as a sophomore. He was productive throughout his career, and you're correct. That receiving factor really plays a big role in fantasy. So maybe a bit of a reach going this early, but a great pick in my opinion.
Yeah, Little had over 1,300 yards from scrimmage twice in his career. And that was in one of those seasons he only played 10 games. The other one he only played 11. So, that's what he could give you. He was one of the best, I think, two-way backs this program has had.
All right, well, you got another pick too. The snake's winding itself back around. Who do you got up next?
Yeah, I'm staying at running back, and I'm adding in that pass-catching value. Give me Anthony White.
Okay.
Anthony White had over 400 receiving yards 3 consecutive seasons. He also had at least 437 rushing yards in 3 consecutive seasons. So you're getting right about 1,000 right there, just penciled in. He can score via ground, via through the air. I think there's another running back that maybe we'll get to. Are we having a flex here?
We are having a flex here, yes.
With Elias, maybe had a bigger individual season, but I think White, the totality, you know what you're getting from him. You're getting 1,000 yards from scrimmage. You're going to get 6, 7, 8 touchdowns. So I'm taking that dependability here with my second pick. Anthony White, running back.
Peake, have any of your top priorities gone off the board?
Yeah, I thought I'd get Raphael Little. Should have known better.
I love all of us who were in high school at the time, or I guess Luckett, that was maybe high school, college right in that wheelhouse. We were all like, maybe they'll forget about Raphael Little. I still
think they should have gone with Locke in that Tennessee game on the 3rd and goal from the 2 or something. They went with Little. He didn't get in. But I'm going to take a running back. Here you go, C-Rod. C-Rod, he was how many touchdowns did he get? 32 for his career. He would have been he would have had another 1,000-yard season if he'd have gotten to play every game of his final season at Kentucky. So I'm going Chris Rodriguez.
Chris Rodriguez for this next selection. I'm one of those that I like getting running backs early in fantasy drafts. It's a little different because there's only 3 of us, but I feel like there's a very finite amount of them before there's a significant drop-off. And I know that that's sort of different with the pool of players we're working with, but I don't care. The man that Adam Luckett was referring to was Ray Davis, and I cannot
was not, but we'll get to him in a minute.
Because Ray Davis, not only did he have almost 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns during his one season at Kentucky, he also had 7 receiving touchdowns that year. I love touchdowns, put him on the board. The 33 receptions, I'm bad at math, but that's about 3 a game, maybe a little bit less. So I'm taking Ray Davis. I always enjoy on KS Board, which if you aren't on KS Board right now, get on before the fall camp sale is over with. $30 for your first year of KSR Plus. always love the conversation that people have, like where people really think that if Ray had more time at Kentucky, he would be more comparable to some of Benny Snell's numbers. So I'm going with Ray Davis as my RB2. And then I don't know if I want him in my – I'm going to put him in my flex spot because he's the best flex player in the history of Kentucky football, the most productive, which some may argue otherwise because there's another similar player on this list. I'm going with Lynn Bowden because of the rushing yards factor, the rushing touchdowns, but also the receiving, the return ability too. People forget that touchdown in the Missouri game, also in the Citrus Bowl as a true freshman. So I like my first three: Lynn, Benny Snell, and Ray Davis to get the ball rolling. Peake, who is your third pick in this Kentucky football fantasy draft?
Tim Couch is my quarterback. I got to have Craig East as a wide receiver. So I'm going with the deuce to the tray, the old 97 hookup there. So I got Craig East.
That you must think that Kentucky's beating Bama here in a couple of weeks. You got it on your mind.
Exactly. He's going to flip the ball. Who's going to flip the ball over the shoulder this year after getting the game-winning touchdown pass from Kenny Minchey?
Ooh, Willie Rodriguez. Will he get drafted? Will he be among the tight ends drafted?
Yeah, how many of the current guys get drafted in this fantasy draft? Guess we'll find out.
Probably not any. Luckett, you've got 2 picks. Who you taking?
Yeah, I think Ray Davis, obviously, probably the best two-way back since Raphael Little. I think you could argue a terrific season. But there's an SEC Offensive Player of the Year that you all let slip to the third round.
We did. We let slip.
That is R2 Spinner.
Give
me Toos in the flex spot. One of the best running back seasons in program history. There's actually another running back I can't really take next, but I probably shouldn't have picked Toos over him. That's just now coming to me. But R2 Spinner here. I like, that 1 year he had, underrated 2002 team, Nick. I think that's probably the most underrated, arguably, Kentucky football team that we've had. Really kind of came out of nowhere. Toos, and remember, Jared was the quarterback. Everyone thought they were going to throw the ball over the place. And they had a run the damn ball mentality that season. And Toos was a big reason why I had a monster season. So R2 Spinner.
So I don't know if you all remember this or not. This may enlighten some of our viewers here on the KSR YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Did you know that Kentucky once had a JV football team?
Yes. Went to one of their games in like 1996 or 7.
That was around when we were in middle school. And I think my freshman year of college, I think, was either the last year or they got rid of it the year before. Yes, they used to play Hargrave Military, I think, every year.
Yeah, and maybe they would play like EKU and some others nearby. The only reason I really remember it is because Toos was a monster on those JV teams. The concept is actually a pretty good one.
Yes, it is.
Because, in that era of college football, you couldn't give guys the 4-game reps, right? They were just stuck on scout team all year. So the JV team was a way for them to get legitimate game reps as freshmen while they developed. That's for particular. I mean, I can't imagine the value that would have on the trenches. Now, you are giving those guys extra hits. That's not something that could currently exist, but I remember one day stumbling upon R2 Spinner JV football stats at Kentucky, and he was just a monster, which I don't think is surprising in the slightest.
Yeah, I think you obviously hit the nail on the head there. The JV, that's a different era. Like, I think you would try, like, kids probably 10 years younger than us, Nick, have no idea. Like, they're like, what?
Yeah,
JV football? But that was
crazy.
Thing.
Yeah,
they would have games on, like, they would just have a game on, like, wouldn't they have play on Thursdays or something? Like, you could come to the stadium and just watch a random college football game, right? Probably like JUCO level. I mean, essentially, I guess would be the comp to that. So, yeah, that was an interesting time, and that was that was back when they had 11 games and all of that. But we're shifting over. This one is I'm getting into an area where I need receivers or tight ends.
Don't do it.
But
Don't do it.
there's an All-American sitting out there, first team, who was a target monster for the 1999 team. I'm going to take James Whalen right here.
Yep.
See,
I was at the game. I was at the Music City Bowl game where he was snapped his leg.
His arm. He dislocated his
arm.
shoulder.
Okay, his shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Steve Moss from WKYT often talks about hearing the sound of him screaming in the tunnel, just like being haunting. That was Dad, they're cheating. They cheated. They hurt him on purpose. Like I was so distraught after that.
Yeah, because they were going to win. You felt like they were winning and they had the game handled. Then he went out and it just totally flipped.
But this is I feel like that we had a run where there was maybe 3 tight ends, but now in modern fantasy football, there's really only one guy. I don't even feel like there is one this year. I wouldn't take Trey McBride that early because the Cardinals are going to absolutely suck. But for a time, if you could be that first one to make a move on a tight end and you can get sort of receiver production out of that position, I mean, that's how you can win leagues. Shout out Antonio Gates, right? Like that back in the day. He was an absolute fantasy football star, and James Whalen certainly fits that criteria during the air raid era. I want to pull up his stats really quickly because they are sort of
I just had them here, Nick, if you need them.
Mind-boggling. I mean, 90 receptions and 10 touchdowns. I mean, he led the SEC in receptions and touchdowns as a tight end and was a 1,000-yard receiver in 1999. That's crazy.
So is that going as your tight end then? Luckett?
Yes, that'll be my tight end.
Okay.
Correct.
All right, Peake. Are you going
to
to follow the tight end wave? You've got flexes available.
I got a flex available. So I will take I'm going to do the flex spot right here because he really good wide receiver, obviously. Decent quarterback. Almost led Kentucky to that 2008 upset over Georgia, I believe, at playing quarterback. Randall Cobb will be my fourth.
He did in 2009. You forgot that.
That's right.
Georgia.
That's right.
Like
At Georgia. Morgan Newton quarterbacked a little bit of that game too, though, right? But yeah, Randall Cobb, one of my all-time favorites.
Big value pick there for Peake, Nick. I think Cobb probably lasted too long. I think if we had to redraft, he probably would have gone a lot sooner. Cobb, I got the numbers pulled up here. Consecutive seasons of 12 total touchdowns. 14 in 2009, 12 in 2010. He had over 1,400 yards from scrimmage. 2010, 2009, he had right at 1,000 yards from scrimmage. And that's not even counting his, the passing yards he would have gave you, I believe, in that 2008 season when he had, extended time at quarterback. So, yeah, I think that is a pretty good pick there by Mr. Stephen Peake.
A clip was circulating recently of the win was it at Arkansas where he wore number 12 for Dickie Lyons, or was that Auburn?
That was the Arkansas game, correct?
Yeah, and he scored a couple of late touchdowns to pull off the fourth quarter comeback win. We're almost at the halfway mark. I have to make my fourth selection, but that was a brief look at the board. Before we get back to the board, I do want to tell you about our friends at the Cash App, 11Personnel. We're partnering with the Cash App to help teens get a better grip on their financial future. The Cash App card, available to teens 13 to 17 with sponsorship by an eligible parent or guardian. Every transaction triggers a real-time notification for that parent or guardian to see. It empowers your teen to practice independence while giving you some peace of mind by keeping track of their spending. Financial literacy, it's incredibly important. You need to develop good spending habits early. Make sure you aren't wasting it on $10 coffees and junk all the time. You got to save that money. Learn how to spend it wisely with the Cash App. So start by downloading the Cash App today and sponsoring their account. New Cash App customers can earn $10 if they use the code FAMILY10 in their profile to sign up. And send $5 to a friend within 14 days. And you'll get that $10 in your account. Terms apply. Just use that code FAMILY10 in the Cash App account today and get the Cash App card for teens. There's tons of great tools, great security to give you plenty of peace of mind. Download the Cash App today. Promo code FAMILY10. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Cash App Visa Debit Flex Card issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC, and the Bancorp Bank, N.A., pursuant to license from Visa USA, Inc. See terms and conditions for the Sutton Prepaid Card, Sutton Debit Flex Card, and Bancorp Debit Flex Card Savings provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures. Okay, Peake. I've got the world is my oyster. I've got multiple selections at my fingertips. I have multiple selections now, and man, having wide receiver and tight end wide open, this is going to make it tricky on me. I like where the quarterback board currently sits, so I'm going to abstain from quarterback at this moment, and I'm going to bolster my tight end production with none other than Jacob Tamme, who he wasn't quite on Waylon's level, but Tamme put up big numbers in each of his last 2 seasons at Kentucky. And so only 2 touchdowns and 386 yards with 32 receptions there in 06, and then 56 catches for 619 yards, 6 touchdowns on that 07 team. So I like having somebody reliable there. And I like that with my next pick that I can go with the guy who broke your guys' air raid records, Peake. He broke Craigie's single season record. He was only here for 1 year, but he was an absolute electric factory. I don't know how he fell this far. Give me the Frankfurt kid, Wan'Dale Robinson, as my wide receiver, number 1.
What?
Yeah, thanks for letting him slide.
I can't believe I forgot about Wan'Dale.
Dang. We have plenty of great options out here, so I'm glad that I've got a solid. I think is Tamme tight end 2 on this board, Peake or Luckett? Is he tight end 2?
Yeah, I think it's a clear top 2, and then there's probably a drop off if we were going to do real fantasy kind of rankings here.
This is where the debate for 3-4 I think is interesting. Because in my mind, he was much better than what it is. I'm curious where Peake will end up going with this selection.
I'm just going to say this. I think a tight end on Kentucky's roster will probably be the clear number 3 choice after this season.
Okay.
But
why not? Why not? There you go. We got it. I'm going to take him. Take him right now. That's good. Thanks for the advice. Always take Adam Luckett advice.
See, I think you could have plugged C.J. Conrad in here. I think that's probably the answer.
One of the most memorable touchdowns in Kentucky football history.
Derek Smith.
Yep, that's the one.
He only had one really year, though. Like, Derek Smith had one kind of big year. So
it was 50 receptions, 716 yards, and 5 touchdowns the year after Waylon in 2000, which would have been.
And that's what started the whole tight end.
Yeah.
The tight end love fest that is still running in Big Blue Nation.
So you had 2 in back-to-back years that were different. Jared threw it to him a lot. Not as much in 2001. I don't know why Derek Smith, because he quit to play basketball for NKU, and I wasn't like I don't really remember like if there was like a GAMO disagreement or what the case was.
Offensive coordinator change. They went from air raid.
Okay.
Tony Franklin calling plays to. And Mummy was out. Guy Mo takes over, and Brent Peace, who Jared had great things to say about.
Absolutely hated. Even years later, loathed. So okay, that adds up a little bit more. All right, well, Willie Rodriguez, the only player on the current roster in this draft, Peake is taking at tight end.
Betting on the future. Let's go.
Luckett, you've got a couple of selections up. Who are you taking next?
Yeah, there's some receivers out here, Nick. I've got to go receiver here. There's some receivers out here that I think have better individual seasons. I think you could maybe argue there's some receivers on this guy's team that had better pro careers. But Keenan Burton was the number 1 target for Andre Woodson when he was healthy. In 21 receiving touchdowns over his last 2 seasons, went over 1,000 in 2006. He's a guy who, when contested catches vertically, he's also a guy that you could throw the ball to in quick game and he create after the catch. So give me Keenan Burton here. I believe we're in the 5th round. To close us out in the 5th round before we move to the 6th.
I like it. One of those 2 that I contend if him and Little would have played in that Mississippi State game in 07, they don't lose at home in that cold, rainy day at Old Commonwealth Stadium. but nonetheless, an outstanding wide receiver. That's the board after 5 rounds. Coming into form, Luckett, you're down to a receiver and a quarterback. Are you going to take the wide receiver off the board, the next top guy, and play keep away, or are you ready to slide in your quarterback?
I'm going to take receiver here. And I'm going to stick with Keenan Burton's teammate. There's a receiver in Jared's era, I think it's out there. But I think his career was he brought more value as a returner, the guy I'm talking about. So I'm going with Steve Johnson.
It's my next pick. So there you go.
I'm going with Steve Johnson here because I think his best is as good as any other receiver. So in this,
was it Stevie Johnson?
Stevie Johnson in this theoretical draft. I'll take Steve Johnson here.
Going with 2 outside receivers too. Yeah, interesting.
I was there when this guy broke the record. I think it was against Mississippi State, right? In the punt returns.
That's correct. Yes.
Derek Abney, one of my. I'm basically picking all the guys who are like my favorite players not just growing up, but even later on in life.
Peake is the, he's the Chiefs fan. He's the Chiefs fan. You look up at the end of the draft, he's got Mahomes, Kelsey, and Kareem Hunt. Like, what are you doing there, Peake? What's going on? It's not a great strategy.
I am, I was sort of in limbo here, but it's one of those cases, you get in a fantasy draft and you get your queue loaded up and then all the guys in front of you take the players you wanted. That just happened to me, right? Especially with Stevie Johnson, because I've already got Wandale and Lynn. I've got 2 great slots, but one other pass catcher who actually did bring a lot. Like, he played outside and inside, so he's just going to be my little outside receiver who is you all may not realize this, but he's top 5 in all of the receiving records. It's just that he played for Mark Stoops, so you don't envision this, but he was consistently productive every single year from Winter Garden, Florida. I'm going with Garrett Juice Johnson as my final wide receiver selection. And I think that's all of our wide receiver selections, if I'm not mistaken. I guess Luckett has a flex left that he has.
No, my flex is gone because I got 3 backs. 3 backs.
Oh, man. It's okay. So we're down to quarterbacks and defensive players.
Okay, since we're out here, Nick, no one took Mo Williams, and we should be ashamed.
Yeah. Well, we went for the PPR, right? Like, and they weren't really throwing the ball to him back then, but that was. Oh wait, Peake actually could take him. You just gave that away.
That's okay. I already know who I'm picking, and
I thought we were out running backs. That's my bad. My fault there.
Yeah. Well, I got a player I got to take.
You also misspelled Benny's name. My bad.
Yeah, you kind of messed that up. And here's the other part.
Don't worry.
So Luckett, it's between me and Luckett for quarterbacks. He beat me to the gun on tight ends, so I'm not going to let him beat me to the gun on defensive players. I'm taking Josh Allen off the board. Sorry, I got the best defensive player to ever play at this school in my spot. People think that I'm going a little high on defensive player. I don't care. Give me Josh Allen as my defensive player. Before I'm prioritizing defense over quarterback.
I thought we were going to just do team defenses.
Players.
Okay.
I mean, because
for those who have done defensive players in fantasy, it's fun. I enjoy picking 3 defensive players, but that's to each his own.
I figured player would be more fun because, like, handicapping some of these defensive units, it'll be harder for the fans to judge. Outside of 18, like you probably have like 2020.
18-22 were the best of the Stoops era, in my opinion. And then after that, you're kind of like
07 had stars, but they gave up a ton of points.
They were better than 06 was bad. 07 was better. 08 was probably the best Brooks defense. 2008.
09, it was solid too. That defensive front was pretty good.
08, 09 they were bad on offense in 08. Bad. One of the probably worst offenses Kentucky's had in recent memory. And the only reason they won the games is because they were pretty good on defense.
And had Randall Cobb. Well, Peake, we may have given away your final.
No, you
Okay.
haven't. You haven't yet. Yeah, because I'm beating you guys to this. I know it seems crazy, but we're talking about points here, right? How many points we can get? Well, why would I not pick the guy who leads the University of Kentucky in points? Austin McGinnis.
That's a great point. It's a great point.
You guys
Austin
knew I was going to be the
McGinnis.
first one to take a kicker, right? Like you all knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why we had you on this one, Peake. We knew that you would take a kicker. All right,
Surprised I waited this long, honestly, but
you got a quarterback that needs to be filled. You got a defensive player, and you got a kicker. You're going to go with the quarterback?
Close us out in the 7th. I'm taking Andre Woodson.
Oh, okay.
Back-to-back there, Nick, to close this season. I mean, you're talking north of 30 touchdown passes, that long interceptionless streak, completes passes, gets yards. So give me Woodson there as my quarterback. This is interesting because I really hasn't been thinking defensively. I'll go Mike Edwards. You're going to get tackles. You're going to get a couple tackles for loss, and you'll get a couple interceptions. So I'll go Mike Edwards on defense.
A little havoc creation there. I was curious if you would – because Couch is the clear QB one, but then is it Woodson or Lorenzen?
I think from a numbers standpoint, to me, just numbers, right? This
and
is what
consistency.
Fantasy football is.
Yeah.
This is what fantasy football is. Numerically, I'm taking Woodson's last 2 years over Jared. I think Jared from the beginning was better at the start of his career, but I think Woodson got to a higher level there at the end. So I think a lot of that was infrastructure around him.
Yes, he had a lot more help.
But I'll take I'm going with Woodson in this exercise.
I don't blame you one bit. Friend of the program. Maybe we'll have him on sometime soon. Stephen Peake, you've got a vacancy. How are you going to fill it?
Okay, so we got running back and defensive player left. I'm going to go ahead and fill that defensive player spot with Trevard Lindley. I know that he had a number of picks. I don't know his stats off the top of my head. Luckett might know, but I was at several games where he had big interceptions against LSU. He had a pick 6 against South Carolina the following year, and his fumble recovery for a touchdown against Arkansas flipped the entire game. So, Luckett, what were we down by? Like, were we down 14 or 13, something like that, and Arkansas was driving?
I think it was 20 to 6. Yeah, and that totally flipped the game.
Yep, I got Trevard Lindley.
Okay, he had 10 picks in his career. I was curious if you would go that route or
a lot of tackles too, Nick. Lindley got a lot of tackles, and he was just Mr. Big Play. Like, he always found a way in big moments to really come up for that team. Like, Kentucky doesn't beat LSU without his interception. Matt Flynn underthrows a deep ball. He gets the interception. That leads to the game-tying field goal. So, like, one of the more underrated, I think, football players Kentucky's had, honestly, with Lindley. He was just awesome.
I didn't know if Peake would go that route or try one of the tackling machines, because between Wesley Woodyard, Danny Trevathan, they were like 120 tackles a year kind of guys. Maybe not as many turnovers created, but were just absolute tackling machines back in the day, back when guys regularly did get, 140-plus tackles. So to wrap up my final 2 picks, that leaves me to take Jared Lorenzen. I feel bad saying leaves me, but, I was trying to get some value in the snake draft. I would have been happy with either Jared or Woodson. And the other part, too, it would really piss me off because I feel like it was the Arkansas triple overtime game where they kept calling like options at the goal line with Jared. And it's like, dude, just let him go north-south, not sideways.
We were lucky there wasn't a message board around at KSR the Ron Hudson year.
I get wanting Jared to have an option to run or pitch, but like not at the line of scrimmage running down it. You got to get him moving forward. It's just so frustrating. But he did use his size to his advantage to get in the end zone quite a bit. But you are correct. Like I want to say, I didn't pull up the set. There was just one year where it really dipped, and then you had the whole like Shane Boyd where they would put him in sometimes to play. That was a little weird, but had at least 2,200 passing yards every single season and about 20 touchdowns. Nothing like that air raid year under Mummy, where he threw 19 touchdowns and 21 picks.
Yeah, it's first year. Yeah, when he replaced Bonner.
But nearly 4,000 yards.
Yeah, they were slinging that thing.
Yeah, slinging that rock. All right, Peake. Your final pick is a running back.
So
right?
I'm kind of going back and forth, like Stanley Boone Williams, JoJo Kemp, trying to think of some. But you guys said Mo Williams, and I was like, it's just, I mean, that's the answer. So I feel it feels cheap because
you weren't going to think of him unless we mentioned it, were you?
And then once you said it, I was like, okay.
That's okay.
Well,
that's all right.
It's Mo Williams. I appreciate the help, though. I really do.
It's going to make us look significantly like we would have looked like idiots if we would have put this graphic out.
I mean, that's what when I picked Penner, I was like, uh-oh, in my head. 1,600 yards for Mo in 1995. 1,600 yards rushing, 17 touchdowns.
Roush, what was your kicker pick again?
I do not. I have not.
Oh, we're going back to you. My bad. All right. Okay.
Yeah. I believe Luckett has one more pick, and
that's correct.
Yeah.
The kicker.
Who's it going to be?
I am going. And now, a little story before this pick. This guy, I feel like, is slept on. This is my ringer.
Oh no!
There's a Bengals podcast I listen to called The Growler. Shout out to the guys at The Growler. And one of the guys on there got invited to do, I mean, this is real sicko behavior, Nick. I think you'll appreciate this. Got invited to do a kickers-only fantasy draft. He's in a kickers-only league. I guess 8 teams. I think 8 teams. Each guy picks 3 teams. But they had, like, the catch. The catch was you got to invite, like, a former Bengals kicker, see if he can get him in our league because we got an uneven amount of teams. So they're going through, like, all these old Bengals kickers, like, who can we invite? And Doug Pelfrey comes up. I was like, oh, Doug Pelfrey.
Yeah.
He was kicked at Kentucky. And then I Wikipedia'd him after the episode, and I was like, oh, look, multi-time SEC, multi-time All-SEC kicker, kicked for the Bengals for a long time. So shout out Doug Pelfrey. Hello, if you're listening. You are on Adam Luckett's fantasy football team. And I wouldn't have got there without the guys at the Growler. Who Dey? Bengals, let's go.
See, that's the 90s. You had basically when Austin McGinnis broke all of these records, there were 2 guys where he was breaking their records. Actually 3. I'm not mentioning one of them because his block kick against Tennessee, I'm scarred for life. Lonas Sieber, he was like the first player I ever dog cussed at Kentucky.
Okay, but he did help them win that LSU game. The field goal in the second overtime, not a chip shot, and he nailed it.
Yeah, and he also hit one late in that game as well. But oh my God! And when he missed too, they were never close. They were bad misses. Like they were so bad, and so he was so infuriating because he could be so good and so bad. I'm going with a guy who hit multiple game winners, including a very overlooked significant win back in 1998 down at Death Valley. Yes, Seth Hansen, that's probably the last Kentucky win at LSU, 1998 against Jerry DiNardo. And then with the duel, I still remember it was a rare televised Saturday night game. They got to watch ESPN. On the Deuce. Yeah. Seth Hansen hit that game winner. I believe he had a couple others as well. So I'm taking Seth Hansen with my final pick. That's our big board as you see it. Maybe we just run it over briefly. Each person can list their teams for the podcast listeners. I've got Jared Lorenzen, Benny Snell, Ray Davis, Wan'Dale Robinson, Juice Johnson, Lynn Bowden as my flex, Jacob Tammy as my tight end, along with Josh Allen as my defensive player, and kicker Seth Hansen. Peake, why don't you roll through your crew?
Yeah, we took the Deuce, Tim Couch as a quarterback, Chris Rodriguez, Mo Williams for the wide receivers. We have Craig Yeast, Derek Abney for the flex, Randall Cobb, tight end, Willie Rodriguez, defensive player, Javard Lindley, and the kicker, Austin McGinnis.
Luckett.
For Adam Luckett's team, the winner, if we played a fantasy football season in this little mini league, quarterback Andre Woodson, his teammate Raphael Little at tailback, running back Anthony White, wide receiver Keenan Burton, wide receiver Stevie Johnson, a lot of 2007 on this team.
I mean,
tight end.
Mike Edwards is your only player since 2007.
That's why I'm going to win. Y'all too much recency bias. Tight end James Whalen, Mike Edwards the nickel, and then kicker Doug Pelfrey.
Oh, man. Well, I think this has been a fun exercise. If you want to debate who you think's team is best, we'll have that on KS board for you to debate. We'll have a poll live. And the losers got to drive to Lexington on Tuesday. That's a fun little punishment. Hopefully this is a fun exercise. Our final weekend without Kentucky football, without college. No, we got college football, but our final weekend, excluding the bye, without Kentucky football till Thanksgiving. This is a fun way to just take a little nostalgia trip before we put the pedal to the metal with all cats, everything going forward. We got the teams having a mock game this weekend to run through everything. And KSR Football Podcast on Monday night, Adam Luckett, to get the people back locked in for this game against Youngstown State on Saturday.
I can't believe it's here. I feel like, I don't want to speak for you all, but it felt like this offseason just absolutely flew by. It helped that we were busy, literally, as soon as the season ended. As soon as the season ended, we were, as soon as coaching change, everything it brings, just it was all gas, no brakes, literally in every sense, and ready to watch games and talk about games.
It feels like Mark Stoops was the head coach 3 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
It really does.
It's gone fast, but it feels like so much has happened, right? Like I even this is 2 years in a row, Nick, of the roster just literally turning over. 50 plus new players 2 years in a row, essentially. It's a lot of new guys to get used to. A lot of guys, I think, for us to get the speed on, but also for us to learn about, so we can inform all you fellow sickos with us that follow it all year on, and not only that, but just listen to us and want to know when the games are happening. And so now we get to put all that hard-earned work to the test, because now we got games, and we'll see how it goes. But also a lot of new too, because we don't really know how. We had a feel for how I point to last year. We had a pretty good feel for how that season would go, Nick, just because we
nailed it.
Just because we had just felt it, and we knew how things would go. We had a pretty good idea of how the flow of the season. This one, I don't know. I think you could talk me into a lot of different things. But I think that makes it exciting for everybody.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you're subscribed everywhere you can subscribe to KSR, KSR Plus, KSR YouTube. We thank you so much. It's going to be a very fun ride. It's been an enjoyable couple preseason weeks to get used to the new routine, but it all starts on Monday. We'll be back here with the KSR Football Podcast return at 6 p.m. Until then, he's Stephen Peake. That's Adam Luckett. I'm Nick Roush. Go Cats and go Kroger.